And the emerald tablets of Thoth are literally mind-changing and mind-blowing.
All right, let's see it. And the fit for today is old school Nickelodeon.
Just because you understand when this was written and the terminology being used is
when was it written?
Far too accurate for now.
So I'm going to pause here and point out that what you're going to see after this is these two men confusing unknowingly two entirely different texts. Because what Katt was referring to is not what Joe is going to pull up on Wikipedia. Joe is going to pull up an entry on a text called The Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus. And this is an actual ancient text. Probably comes from the 8th or 9th centuries CE. It is a late antique Hermetic text, probably originally written in Arabic, but possibly translated from a slightly earlier Greek original. And this, in the earliest version, is 12 to 14 lines of Arabic text. Here is an English translation of the entire Emerald Tablet of Hermes Trismegistus. Now, what Katt was referring to was a text that people claim is 32,000 years old, but was actually written in the 1930s. And this is known as the Emerald Tablets of Thoth the Atlantean. And this was written by a man named Maurice Doreal, an occultist, who claimed that in 1925 he was transported to the Great Pyramid in Egypt, where he was shown a series of a dozen tablets from which he was able to translate everything that is in this book. And Doreal also claimed that he met two Atlanteans in Los Angeles and that they transported him to a cavern 12 miles underneath Mount Shasta and shared with him information about a subterranean race of reptilians from which would come the Antichrist. And then later on he incorporated aliens into the mix. And then in later periods you get Zechariah Sitchin's 12th Planet, you get David Icke's Children of the Matrix, and you get the foundation of 21st century asinine conspiracy theories about the Anunnaki and the reptilians and the Atlanteans and all of this stuff. And Katt is not going to realize that what Joe is reading is information about an entirely different text and is just going to go along with it.
Here it is. Emerald Tablet. Also known as the Smaragdine tablet, though attributed to the legendary Hellenistic figure Hermes Trismegistus. How do you say it, bro?
Trismegistus.
Trismegistus. Yeah. The text of the Emerald Tablet first appears in a number of early medieval Arabic sources, the oldest of which dates to the late 8th or early 9th century. It was translated into Latin several times in the 12th and 13th centuries. Numerous interpretations and commentaries followed. So what does it say, though?
Is this weed talk, Joseph?
No, this is so legit.
So legit, my man.
So this dude was probably an alien.
Dude, first of all, there are no probablys.
Yeah.
That's the benefit once you hear it or read it.
I want to pause again to point out that they're showing you images of this green, somewhat transparent tablet with this text on it. And this is supposed to be one of the emerald tablets of Thoth the Atlantean, and this is 100% made up. Now this text mixes different scripts. There's some old Hebrew in here. There's some Hebrew that is approximating Samaritan. There is some old Greek in here as well, and there are attempts to form some words, like the word amen appears a couple of times, but overall this is just gibberish because it's just made up. It's an attempt to gin up some kind of artifact that could plausibly be the source for the Emerald Tablet and or the Emerald Tablets, which are commonly and obliviously conflated according to this conspiracy theory.
Because if all you care about is information, right? Like, that's what you start to see is when you get to everybody's civilization, Asian, Indian, African, when you get to the crux of their information, nobody's disagreeing with anybody.
Right.
This reminds me of what the great poet said, when you control the male, you control information. Remember to think critically and Google competently.